Hey, you all. It's Miss Wilson going over your work for virtual learning. So, all of you are going to have morning work 2 days a week when we're not in person together or meeting virtually. So, Group B, you're going to have Meaningful Monday and Multiplication Monday to look at. So, one thing to think about when you're doing analogies, think about how the first two words are related. The second two words are going to have the same relation. So you have to think what's going to make sense based on how the first two words are related. For Multiplication Monday, all of these problems are going to either be multiplication or division. So a quotient is the answer to a division problem. So if you're thinking 48 divided by 6 equals what, you can also think what times 6 equals 48. So you can count by sixes until you get to 48. You could make an array, start with 6 dots, and then 12, and keep counting by sixes until you have 48 dots, and then count how many rows you created. You can make equal groups, 6 circles, put 1 dot in each circle over and over again until you have a total of 48 dots, and then look how many are in one circle. So think about the different strategies you've learned for division. For your reading assignment, you're going to be reading a scenario about 4 characters, Christian, Jeffrey, Sarah, and Josh. If the font is too small, remember you can click on zoom and you can zoom in. You're going to read the scenario, and then you're going to drag and drop the character trait that describes each person based on what you read. So either the person is nervous, rude, sneaky, or proud. So you're just going to drag and drop it next to the arrow. This next slide is here we go, sorry. This next slide is just a paragraph. So you're going to read the scenario and identify the inside character traits. So just the character or personality traits for Nancy Smith. Use evidence to support your answer. So you have a couple paragraphs here, and the questions are, what character trait could be used to describe Nancy Smith? So Nancy is what? How would you describe her? Her personality. What evidence from the passage helped you identify the character trait you just chose above? So, what did they say in the paragraph that told you she was either joyful or courageous, helpful, whatever word you used to describe her? How did you come up with that? So you're going to drag and drop this highlighting tool to show the evidence that you use to support the character trait you chose. Then the last thing you're doing is using context clues from the passage. What does infant mean? So reread the passage if you need to, and in your own words, define the word infant. Okay, for Tuesday, you are going to be looking at text structure. You're focusing on the main idea. So what was the text mostly about? And you're writing that letter here. And then you're doing your base 10 Tuesday. So select all the expressions equal to 454. So out of these 5 equations, which ones have an answer of 454? And then you're going to drag and drop these green little rectangles to the correct ones, to the ones that equal 454. You have a word problem that you're going to read. You're going to round to the nearest 10. And for your math assignment, you are going to be looking at multiplication and division. So using the array or the equal groups given to you, you're going to create a multiplication sentence and a division sentence. So multiplication is like addition. Two smaller numbers create a bigger number. Division is kind of like subtraction. One bigger number takes away a smaller number and equals a smaller number. So I always think of it as part, whole for multiplication. A part times a part equals the whole. And for division, whole divided by a part equals a part. So the number of groups is 2. There are 2 groups. So in this first box, I'm going to type 2. And then 2 groups of, how many are in a group? 3. 2 groups of 3. And then how many do you have total? Equal 6. Now, division, you are taking your whole, how many you have total, which is 6, and you're dividing it, in this case, by how many groups there are. So 6 divided by 2. So if I have 6 goldfish and I'm sharing them with myself and my husband, with 2 people total, how many will each of us get? Well, we'll each get 3. So when you're looking at equal groups, that is how you want to think about your equations. Some of your equations are going to be using arrays. Let's look at rows. Rows go across. Think about rowing a boat. A boat goes across the water. It doesn't go up into the sky. So rows go across. I always think of like row, row, row your boat. Going across the array. Do, 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 do. Yay, 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 yay. Okay, so how many rows do you have? You have 2. So in this first box, you would put 2. 2 groups of, because the multiplication sign just stands for groups of. So 2 times or 2 groups of, and how many are in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 groups of 6. So part, now whole. How many do I have all together? 12. 2 groups of 6 equal 12. Okay, now division, whole divided by part equals part. So my whole is 12. I have 12 total fish. So the first number for my division problem is 12. Now it's telling me specifically to focus on the number of rows. There are 2 rows. So I'm going to do 12 divided by 2. 12 divided by 2. So how many do I have in a row? So if this row of goldfish is for Quentin and this row of goldfish is for Emmett, how many will they each get? They will each get 6. Okay, now if you are, you're going to be doing different arrays, but the same idea. If you are a group A person, actually, let me take that back. Everybody has a Wednesday assignment. So we will be talking more about this assignment at our morning meeting at 10 o'clock. We'll go over the morning work. So go ahead and give it your best, and we'll go over it then. And you have a social studies assignment about landforms. So you're going to read about the different landforms. And then you're going to write one fact about each landform. And I think it says, there's one that doesn't say type here. So let me put a text box there. Edit copy. Edit paste. Oh no.